In today's video, we're off to a new destination as we say goodbye to Ubud. We enjoyed our stay here, but now we're off to Lombok and we thought it would be a smooth travel day, but man oh man, we were wrong. Come travel with us as we make our way to another Indonesian island and make sure to watch till the end to understand what happened in our experience.
This is the setup at the minute.
Gosh.
Oh my god.
Like such tourists.
It was so funny because they tried to help us out and everything.
Yeah, they were nice too because they were like, do you want us to bring our stuff?
Yeah, they were so nice.
Yeah.
Well, at the minute we're driving a little bit slowly, but
Very slow.
yeah, very slowly because obviously we've got some things to carry here. Yeah, so we're gonna try to go as slowly and as careful as possible. After a little chaotic ride, we finally made it here safely, as safe as possible we made it here. And first off, we are actually gonna go get some snacks and then pretty much wait for the shuttle to pick us up.
And we hauled all of this backpack and everything. Jasmina had to carry my backpack, and then we had put her backpack on here on top of my other bag, and then the rest of the things we were kind of just lifting on the side of on our shoulder pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Funny enough, our shuttle is here. Arjay just went inside to go get some snacks because apparently we are gonna leave earlier because pickup time was supposed to be 11 and now the time is exactly 10:26, so that's quite early. Not complaining, but yeah, we just need to get some snacks because it's gonna be around a 2-hour drive, so we need to be prepared for anything.
And so we're off. The drive from Ubud city center to Padang Bai was just about nearly 2 hours.
Pretty much made it to the port.
Safely, yeah, it's actually Padang Bai port.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours more or less away from Ubud.
Yeah.
And our boat doesn't leave till 1:30.
Yeah, and what time is it now?
12:30.
12:30, so.
So 1 hour.
Yeah. A little update. The boat is here.
2 hours later. We finally got on the boat, and I don't mean to exaggerate, but it was probably one of the worst boat experiences ever. Watch the next bits when I tell the story to understand why. I feel like everything that could have possibly went wrong today. And I'm fairly I like to think positive in terms of things. And yeah, I mean, even when we got here, we were just like, oh, we're so thankful to have been here in one piece and that we have finally made it. We got there at 12:15. The lady at the counter said the boat is going to be there by 1:30. So we had, we were fairly early. We had about an hour or so wait. 1 p.m. hits, and then there was kind of this queue forming. It was actually a messy queue. And then 1:30 hits and everyone's wondering where their boat is, and then we saw another line. 1 hour later, no, it was more than that, it was an hour, an hour and 15, an hour 30 minutes later, the boat had finally come, and it's just been raining non-stop for the past hour. So that was happening. The boat was late, and then it was a mess because nobody was kind of in charge of the pier, so people were trying to go back and forth and trying to swing their luggages, and just it was insane. I actually saw 2 luggages almost fall off the water today just because people would bump into them, and there's just no proper organization in that pier. And plus you had to pay for a tax, a pier tax or something like that, which is really insane to me because what are we paying for if there is no one in charge? And I understand it's a tax thing or a city thing, but nobody was there. It's just a bunch of vendors trying to sell you like poncho or like Pringles or Coke or Bintang or whatever while you're waiting for your boat. And then I asked somebody that wasn't working at the boat, they were just on the pier walking around under the rain for some reason. And then I'm like, is this Lombok? And then he's like, yeah, Lombok. And then I went back, asked one of the workers, a different worker who didn't yell out Gili tea. And then he's like, yeah, Lombok bags right here, which they never yelled out or shouted in the beginning. I guess that's my point, is that no one, when you go from Bali to Lombok or any of the Gili Islands, no one's really in charge in terms of like, you know, where, how things should be or like where you're gonna go. They'll yell out things and that's about it. Like you'll be lucky to understand it even, or to even hear it. Like you almost have to ask every single step of the way. Once all of that happened, it continues. So there was this guy, don't know what his name was, but he worked for the boat. He was giving us instructions and he was saying that, you know, when we get off the port of Lombok, a lot of taxi drivers will haggle us. And there is a Grab app that, you know, Jasmina and I have been using to get around Bali, although we've had a scooter the past week and a bit. But there is a Grab app, which is a ride-sharing app that you could use to get around from one place to another, and it's a set price. You don't have to worry about like haggling or negotiating or whatever. Like it's a legit service that is offered in the country. And now he was talking about that, about how, you know, taxi drivers are going to haggle us and all that stuff. And you know, I did some research and a lot of people, it was mixed, because a lot of people were saying like, yeah, there's Grab in certain parts of Lombok, and then there's also, you know, the not so touristy parts, obviously, where Grab doesn't operate at all, which is completely understandable. But nonetheless, he was taking us through this process of like, we shouldn't fall for like, you know, getting scammed and all of this stuff, and how taxi drivers would overcharge us. And then he was saying like, what else was he saying? Oh, he was talking about like how we'll have a set price and then that's all you pay for. But then they end up charging you after the further you get into your trip or whatever. And so he was saying all of this, and he was somewhat at the time kind of helping us. And then, you know, all of us actually believed it. And he was like, yeah, I got a couple of friends, like we'll get you in a taxi, you just split it. It's just, you know, for us, we're heading to Kuta, which is 2 hours away from where we docked in Bangsal port, I believe. And so we all agreed. We found 2 other guys who was going to go to Kuta area, in this area. And then we decided to split the fare with them. And the deal was 500,000 Indonesian rupiah. And that's it. Pay no more, pay no less. That's like a split between us. So between Jasmina and I, that's 250. And the 2 guys will put up 250 as well. And then, you know, we got in the car, everything seems normal. The taxi driver was introducing himself, trying to be nice. Over an hour in, he pulled up to the gas station and then he asked for gas money. He was like, can you give me 100,000? To us, like just out of the blue. And then I'm like, okay, so is this part of it? Like, but no, that's apparently an additional to the 500,000. And this may not seem much, but it's always the principle for me. And whether it's like 100,000 or like 1 Indonesian rupiah or 100 million Indonesian rupiah, it is the principle for me that we had a deal of 500,000 with that guy and him, that's all we're gonna pay, no more, no less kind of thing. But no, he asked for it and I gave him, you know, money. Me and the other guys, like we kind of split it and we're like, here you go, no questions asked. Once he filled up the petrol, or he filled up his car with fuel, he was like, let me see where you're staying. So Jasmina and I are staying, it's about 10-15 minutes away from where those 2 other guys are staying. And then he all of a sudden started saying, oh, I need another 100,000 because there's a distance between you. So I just told him, wait a minute, why am I giving you extra for something we had already agreed on? And I gave you extra cash for gas money that I never even questioned. And at that point, I was just gonna question it because what? Like, there's just no principle, there's no ethics, and I completely understand that it's, he's trying to feed his family, but it's just not. I don't like getting, sleazed out like that. And I had to question him and kind of like stop him. And then at first he wanted 100K, and then I think he was getting to a point where he knew I had a point, because even though his English was bad, like, you could fully understand me and the tone of my voice that you're not about to scam me. And then he's like, okay, 50,000, okay. And I just didn't say anything, because at that point I just knew he was just asking for more money. And I think, this is not just in Indonesia. This happens everywhere across the globe. Nonetheless, got scammed, and then I booked a place. This place is supposed to be in Kuta Center. When I went on booking, it says Kuta Lombok, and so yeah, I gave him the address for this place, and then the driver was like, oh, this is actually not in Kuta. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because the address is in Kuta. Now, there's another side to this story. There's two names for this place. One is, what's the name again? Pondoc Guest House was on booking. And then on Google Maps, okay, wait, let me backtrack. So when I booked it, it's the Pondoc Resort. Couldn't find it on Google. Tried other people finding it, typing in the address, and the address is like in Kuta area. Now, I messaged the owner or whoever, on booking, they'll have like contact the property kind of thing. Messaged that on WhatsApp, and then they sent me a screenshot or a link to the actual address, and the name is actually not Pondoc Resort. It's Gania, or not Pondoc Resort. I wish it was a resort. Pondoc Guest House, and apparently it's Gania Guest House. Now, this Gania Guest House has a different address. It's not, if you look at the address, it doesn't say Kuta at all. I mean, yes, it's 10 or 15 minutes away from the Kuta center, but again, it goes back to the principle. Like, it's not, like, you shouldn't put it's in Kuta when it's in another district, when you're close to the border kind of thing. You know what I mean? So got here, had trouble finding the place, and that's when I knew, like, maybe that's why they use two names, is because to have Pondoc on booking as like a Kuta area, Kuta stay, so people can just, tourists mainly, can type in Kuta and they will pop up. But when you look for their address, it's not going to show up on Google Maps when you actually try to get here, and it's just under a different name, which is Gania Guest House. Booked it for 2 nights. I tried staying for 1 night. We tried saying that, it's not in Kuta, like, all of this is false information. And then he was saying something like, booking doesn't pay them till, for a month, so he can't give me any refund. And I just said, sure, whatever. The next thing, it's not a big deal, but again, it's the principle. On the site, under facilities, it says Wi-Fi included. We got here, and again, it's not a big deal because I have a SIM card, and it's whatever, it's late at night. I asked the owner or whoever, check this in, do you have Wi-Fi? Straight up said no. So that is my day. Our day, really. Our day. We're gonna sleep it off, and we have this night, or sorry, I don't even know what I'm saying. We have this room for 1 more night. Oh, also, by the way, nothing against the area, but we're literally in the middle of a village. Like, literally a village, like a farm. And there's just, I think we're the only tourists here. But that's what I wanted to share with you. A couple of tips if you are gonna go from Bali to Lombok. First and foremost, do consider flying if you have the budget for it. I think you're spending just a little bit more, but you're getting a lot of your time back. You're getting, less hassle, and it's just much easier to fly into, less being scammed. I suggest taking the Grab. There is Grab operating in kind of like the main touristy areas, but do check from time to time. And the rule with haggling and negotiating with any sort of products or services in Southeast Asia is, whatever they say, try to get it down to half, because that's how much you should be paying. And when you get on a boat, our boat was called Semaya. I don't know if they all operate the same way, but one thing you have to keep in mind is that, yes, if they sound like they're trying to help you, you might also want to do a little bit more research, or maybe look at a Grab app first to see how much it costs, because even if that person is trying to help you and they tell you like that's all you have to pay, because that's legit, literally all he said was like 500,000 is all you have to pay. We ended up paying more. It was actually close to nearly just taking the Grab, which would have been less hassle, and it would have been just us kind of thing, in the car during the whole ride instead of sharing it with someone else. And who knows, he could have asked for more, I think, if we kept saying yes to his request kind of thing for more money. Make sure if you have electronics or whatsoever, make sure that you have rain covers or that they're packed very well, because they will get soaked. My main backpack actually got left outside. They just placed it outside the boat because all of the Gili Island backpacks and luggages were stored in the bottom and they ran out of room. And so all the Lombok bags got placed at the top, and it was raining. Now, if it's not raining, it's not a big deal, but if it is, then all your clothes will get soaked, like me. And then they only placed it once all the Gili people or Gili tea people had docked off the boat. And by that time it was too late, and in fact by the time we got to the Lombok area, the Gili area, it was sunny. So yeah, perfect timing. And just brace yourself for a long day. There's going to be a lot of delays. I've even heard of people being overcrowded in ships, and people are standing on boats. And if you do get seasick like that quickly or that easily, I suggest going to the back and just sitting outside, because it does get claustrophobic in there, and it does get really, really hot. It's not a nice feeling. Very, very humid as well. And even some people, there was a family that had opened the door on the side because they needed air, but water was coming in, and a lot of people were getting annoyed because they were getting sprayed at, but they wanted fresh air. And then that door at the front just kept opening and closing because people were just that's the other thing. It's like people are just like, everyone's different, so that's one thing to keep in mind. And in terms of seats, you should place yourself away from the window. Try to get the aisle seats, more so like in the middle of the ship, because if you're sitting up front, you will get soaked, because there's a higher chance of you getting soaked. That's all. I'm gonna end this vlog, and actually this vlog might be too short, so I think I'm just gonna combine today's vlog and tomorrow's vlog. And tomorrow is our first official day in Lombok, but I think tomorrow is going to be fairly uneventful, just because we want to edit a lot of content to put out while we're traveling. And also today was just fairly it was a long one, so I think tomorrow we just want to take it easy, and then the day after that we'll get back to exploring once again. And it hasn't been a good start. I mean, Lombok is definitely my favorite island here in Indonesia, and definitely a rough start, but we're golden. We're good. So I'm gonna end this vlog, or today's vlog, here, and why don't we just fast forward to tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Full official day here in Lombok, and we have another night to stay at this place, but we decided to just go into the city center, just because one of the main reasons why we had chosen Kuta as a base is because of the convenience, and we're literally in the middle of nowhere at the moment, and there's no Wi-Fi here, and it's just not very convenient, I mean, it's a nice place, but we're literally, I think, in the middle of a farm. There's animals, all sorts of animals around us.
There's a goat. There's two goats. There's
And
cows.
then there's cows. There's goats here, there's cows here, and we're just in the middle. We're literally in a village, which is a cool, authentic kind of feel and experience, but it's not really what I booked this place for originally because, like I said, I thought this place, their address stated that they were in Kuta, like central Kuta, but they're not. And so even though there's we have another night here, I think I'm going to try to get booking.com to somewhat try to give me some sort of refund or something for the night, and if not, honestly, I'm not going to stay here for another night. It's not a big deal. But yeah, the plan today is going to be fairly uneventful today. We're checking in our new place, and then we're just going to be doing a lot of editing and working to get these videos out to you while we're traveling. So we work hard on these videos. We have been trying to figure out how to get out of this place. I messaged the owner and called multiple times saying respectfully that we need to leave because this place is not in central Kuta as stated in their booking whatever address, and also stating that we need Wi-Fi because they also said that they have Wi-Fi on booking but it doesn't anyways. And then trying to get a Grab driver here because we ordered Grab food yesterday and it worked just fine, and we tried getting a driver, doesn't work, only the scooter does. But the thing is, we have a lot of bags with us, so we were thinking of taking 2 scooters. Then we decided to message the guy who was running the place at our next stay, and on Grab, here, let's just do this. On Grab it says that from here to the guest house that we're staying in, it's 106,000 Indonesian rupiah. And it's crazy because it's literally 7-8 minutes away from here, which is fine, I get it. We're also still in the middle of nowhere, and that's fine. And then I've been talking back and forth with the owner of the other place that we're going to be staying at for the next few days. And then I asked him for a taxi, and he said 150K for a ride. I mean, that's fairly insane because it's only 8 minutes away, but then again, we're in the middle of nowhere. But that's just way up there for a short ride. And literally, it's a 4 kilometer ride, or 4.6. Yeah, 4.6 kilometer ride from where we're staying. It is, and the whole way there is just a highway, so it's really fast. Now he finally agreed. He just texted me.
Well,
so the taxi driver that was supposed to pick us up, I just got off the phone with him, and he was saying that, he was out front. He was asking for the location of where we're staying. And then he said he was at the front, so I told Jasmina, we gotta get out, bring our stuff, and I had asked him if he could come to our guest house because you kind of have to go through this driveway. And then he said, okay. And then I asked him how long he's gonna be, and on WhatsApp you can see when people are online, and he was online. I'm sure he was seeing my messages, but he wouldn't respond. And so now we're out here with our bags, just waiting, and I don't want to complain too much, but I mean, if you're like 10 minutes away, tell me. If you're like 1 hour away, tell me. That's like the whole point for me, is just tell me. Don't tell me to go outside, or tell me other things like you're up front. I messaged the driver, he said 5 minutes, when technically he was supposed to be here 20 minutes ago. Well, 30 minutes ago. When he messaged me at 10:49, he said 5 minutes. It is now 11 a.m. 1 hour or so later, we finally got picked up by the driver. On this ride, I kid you not, I actually timed it once we left and arrived. It literally took 5 minutes to be exact. Place, and it only took about 2 hours to get here, And I kid you not, I did time it. It was about 5 minutes, exactly 5 minutes from the place we were staying at to here. It is very, very close. And that was the quickest 100,000 Indonesian rupiah grab that I ever had ever. Just because it's just 5 minutes. It was a 5 minute drive. And it's just the highway, no traffic whatsoever. But nonetheless, we are here. And we're here for a few days. I might extend it. Also got a scooter for the same price as an Ubud of 70,000. And this is what the room looks like. We have 2 beds, and as always, my electronics get the other bed, and then Jasmina and I will be over there. Jasmina is just getting ready, and then yeah, first things first, we gotta get breakfast and just edit. But yeah, brunch at this point because it is literally 11:45 now. But it's been a rough start, but it's getting better slightly.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah. It's good to experience those things, and I think that's why I love YouTube. Is just we don't just want to share the highs of the trips. We also want to be able to share the lows, because that does happen from time to time, and it's not just amazing travels. 100% of the time, like these things kind of happen as well. And so I think that's why I love YouTube, is because you're able to, it's a platform that you're able to share those kind of moments
and
if you choose to. Yeah, but that place, if you are going to be here in Lombok, highly suggest not staying at that place. I mean, you would have known it by now, but it's called Gania Guest House or the Pondok Guest House. They go by 2 establishments, and I'm not going to talk bad about the owners, but I think it's just the biggest scam ever, because they fake everything in terms of address and what's available in terms of facilities and all that stuff. And when it comes to customer service, it's just Jasmina and I were saying, like, we don't even like writing reviews in general, whether it's good or bad. But I think with this one, we have to, like, we feel the need to write a review about this one, just because it was just such a horrible experience and treatment that we received. So nonetheless, we are gonna get some food and do a lot of editing so we can get these YouTube videos out to you.
For the rest of the day, we just went to the center and edited. So that's it for today's video. And if you're not subscribed to our channel just yet, make sure you do and give this video a like, and we'll see you on the next one.